Hi, welcome to this Writing at Bates video tutorial. I'm Bridget Fullerton, Assistant Director of Writing at Bates, and in this video, I'll offer some research and strategies for engaging community in your remote writing classroom. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. As we begin, I invite you to reflect on your own experiences with community building in educational group settings. Can you think of a time you felt particularly welcome and engaged in a vibrant community of learners? How did the community leader or members of the community foster this sense of engagement? How do you know when your students are connecting in healthy ways? What's typically going on? What do you think creates such an environment? What challenges have you encountered with trying to build community in your online classroom? To what do you attribute these challenges? Thinking back on your own experience and trying to replicate what worked is a great place to start. But even though you may have experienced or built community in remote settings, you may not know exactly why it worked or why it didn't. Engaging your students online is totally possible. Doing so just takes a little planning and creativity. To dive into our topic today, let's first consider some best practices from the field of writing studies for engaging students in remote learning communities, particularly the thoughtful engagement of writers in online spaces. Instructional designers and writing scholar teachers Jessie Borgman and Casey McArdle are co-creators of the Timely online writing instruction community, a website and social media group dedicated to collecting and sharing online writing instruction resources. They recently published their research in a helpful framework, the PARS method, which centers the student user experience and aids instructors in developing personal, accessible, responsive, and strategic online writing courses. McArdle and Borgman suggest that we build community in our remote classrooms by being personal, or simply by being ourselves. As difficult as this may seem sometimes in the often awkward online educational sphere, we are encouraged to embrace this awkwardness in order to foster connections with our students and to share our personal interests and unique struggles with writing. Further, in her work on anti-racist pedagogy, Kyoko Kishimoto relatedly challenges us to reduce power differentials by sharing our vulnerability and empowering students' individual experiences as part of our curriculum design, particularly asking professors from dominant identity groups to be self-reflective and open with students about their own positionalities. McArdle and Borgman further suggest that online writing instructors work to make their courses accessible. In addition to developing accessible materials and instructional methods to accommodate students with learning disabilities, this also means that we make ourselves readily available and accessible to our students and assure that our assignments are easy to access, understand, and ask questions about. Deborah Dean and Adrienne Warren have similarly argued that writing instructors provide ample and frequent opportunities for informal writing and idea sharing. Generally, designing a remote classroom community in which every student can equitably engage in the meaning-making and learning processes requires instructors to anticipate each type of learner by offering a judicious array of writing prompts and ways into content. Often we can do this by balancing our non-negotiable requirements with options for students. Further, McArdle and Borgman recommend online writing courses be responsive in that instructors offer plenty of feedback often and expediently, particularly in compressed semesters. Formative, descriptive, and revision-oriented feedback that does not seek to fix problems with or stamp summative scores on the student's writing is best. Instead, our feedback can engage with and seek to learn from students' ideas by asking questions in order to build their confidence and move them purposefully along in their writing and learning processes. Please check out our other Writing at Bates video on effective, ethical, and efficient feedback. Relatedly, responsiveness means offering clear assignment guidelines and due dates for writing tasks, with efficient and meaningful turnaround times for expecting feedback from us. Ellerbrock et al. Remind us that we also build community in our classrooms by teaching with care, reciprocity, and with a common goal to which all students can contribute. Finally, McArdle and Borgman point us to the importance of strategy in our online writing courses. Put simply, making our overarching course structure and learning outcomes, as well as our weekly and even our daily goals apparent to students, helps them succeed. So does explaining how each writing task ties into these learning goals and connects to students' own goals and experiences. Courses designed strategically also ask us to be explicit about the kind of writing we are asking students to do. Too often, students consider all of the assignments we give them as high stakes. Disabusing them of this view teaches them to expend the appropriate amount of time and effort on a task, that not all writing need be perfectly polished, and that writing comes in many forms, from low to high stakes, across a broad continuum, represented here in a slide adapted from an AWAC writing workshop by Kritz Anson and Marty Townsend. There is writing to learn and to check learning, reflective and metacognitive writing, writing to give feedback, writing to demonstrate learning, and all manner of variants therein. We build trust and community in our remote classes by making apparent to student what's at stake in any given writing task. So does being explicit about the stages of the writing process. Are students to brainstorm and share ideas for a project? Will they write a draft and receive feedback or a provisional grade from you? And is a revision expected? Is there a rubric they can use for self-assessment or to guide their feedback in a peer review? How will the final paper be weighted, and which artifacts of their process should be kept as evidence? Not all of these are habitual processes for college writers and may appear equally important without your repeated clarification. Strategic courses include writing assignments that are carefully and intentionally scaffolded, sequenced, and chunked into smaller parts, and that build towards a common end goal. And when students have been given ample time and guidance, coupled with some healthy autonomy to work towards a writing project they feel invested in, the icing on the cake is to offer a final opportunity for them to make public their hard work, even if only just to their peers. In sum, to build community in our remote classrooms, Borgman and McArdle and the other scholars mentioned here invite us to guide our students to engage with us and with each other by intentionally designing personal, accessible, responsive, and strategic online writing courses. Thinking back on your initial reflections, you'll likely notice the presence or lack of one or more of these characteristics in the experiences you've had. Indeed, in a minute, I'll ask you to take a moment to do so. But before I do, I want to offer a quick preview of a forthcoming and related Writing at Bates video tutorial. Asking our students to write in community with one another in online spaces pushes us to broaden our definition of writing. In a 2004 keynote speech at the Conference on College Composition and Communication, Kathleen Blake Yancey argued to an international group of writing scholars and teachers that we have a moment. Literacy today is in the midst of a tectonic change. Even inside a school, never before have writing and composing generated such diversity in definition. What do our references to writing mean? Do they mean print only? Writing in remote environments requires us to design assignments that have students move beyond the confines of alphabetic text on paper or screen and make informed choices about the video, graphical, and audio elements in their writing. Considerations of space and design also become more important when working in digital environments, as does moving our own and our students' bodies in the very real three-dimensional spaces that exist beyond our screens, as anyone who's experienced Zoom fatigue would agree. In other words, it's no longer a question of if we should ask students to compose in modes other than alphanumeric text, but of how we assure they leave college understanding that all writing is multimodal. In another Writing at Bates video, I'll review the benefits of taking a multimodal perspective on writing and offer some simple strategies and digital tools to further build community and student self-efficacy in our remote writing classrooms. For now, I invite you to take a few final moments to process the content presented in this video tutorial. Thinking back to your initial reflections about your experiences with remote community engagement, what did you hear in this video that may explain or deepen your understanding of these experiences? What are some ways you intend to build more vibrant community in your remote writing classroom based on what you heard here? Do you have other ideas? I and my colleagues at Writing at Bates appreciate you taking the time to watch this video and to reflect on your learning with us and the broader Bates faculty community of writers and writing instructors. If you'd like to talk more about the ideas presented here, or anything else related to the teaching of writing in your courses or your departmental writing curriculum, please contact Writing at Bates at writingatbates.edu to request a consultation. Hope to see you soon.